Hello, everybody, and welcome to a fantastic debrief session with me right now. I am pleased to welcome Shamil with me today in this session. I'm absolutely thrilled, Shamil. Shamil, who accomplished a remarkable feat in his GMAT journey, he improved from an initial 555 to a stellar 715, which is a massive 160 point improvement. What makes his story particularly inspiring is the exceptional balance he achieved across all these sections. So, what does Shamil have along with the 715? He has a fantastic DI86, right? He has a fantastic Q86 and a V84, right? With the most dramatic improvement that has happened in DI by 12 points, followed by verbal by 6 points, and quant by 5 points. So if you see, he has improved in all the subsections thoroughly. Now, what's the most exciting part? Shamil's final push from a 645 to a 715 came in just 2 weeks. So, like I mentioned, he was starting at a 555. He took another attempt, scored a 645, and 2 weeks later, he had reached the pinnacle of GMAT. And he scored a 715 within just 2 weeks. This improvement, especially, is a testament to focused preparation and strategic planning that has gone into his journey, right? And his journey offers valuable insights for every GMAT aspirant, especially those who are aiming for a substantial improvement in a time bound scenario. So, welcome, Shamil. We are excited to learn from your GMAT success story. Let me congratulate you first. So, heartiest congratulations to you. 715, 160 points improvement, no mean feat. You should be proud of you. How do you feel?
Hello, Drew. Thanks a lot for that wonderful introduction. Thanks a lot. It's my pleasure to share the screen with you all. If you ask me how I feel, I definitely feel much. I can't put it in words. Happy or ecstatic or whatever it is. But at the same time, I'm very happy with the score. But at the same time, I'm going ahead with the application process, which is also another difficult task. So
Right.
yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, Shamil, as we already know, we are here to discuss your journey and to make sure that all the GMAT aspirants who are right now watching us live, they take away a lot of learnings and guidance from your journey, right? And before we start any journey, right, the first and the most important step is to plan it, to have a
Yeah.
framework, right? And that is what I think at EGMAT you found something in the personalized study planner PSP, right?
Yes,
So I
exactly.
want to understand from you, how did EGMAT's personalized study plan PSP help you structure your preparation according to your application deadlines, because you were here with some time constraints. So just take
Yeah.
us through that little part.
Okay, so basically, time was my most, my main enemy from the beginning itself. So I
Correct.
decided to go for GMAT. Initially, I didn't have any plan to go with the GMAT. So I decided to go
Right.
with GMAT to apply for GMAT in the last week of May. So a friend of mine suggested eGMAT. So I didn't have much time to research because I had only my initial plan was to apply in Indian B schools, mostly IM ABC and
Perfect.
ISP. Okay, so there round one and round two, I had round one deadlines initially in my mind. So
Right.
when I decided to start with GMAT preparation on the first week of May, I didn't have much time to research on where to prepare from. A friend of mine who had
Right.
prepared last year using eGMAT, he suggested the verbal section is quite good in eGMAT. So I straight away subscribed the package in the first week of May. But the whole month of June, I was assigned a new project in my work. So in the last week of May, I started with the verbal section for 5 days. But
Right.
during the whole month of June, I couldn't even log into the EasyMath platform. Then I
Right.
had to revise the study plan and start my preparation on July 8th, I think. So after
Right.
that, to apply for the round 2 of IIM ABC, I had 3 months in hand. So then I logged into EasyMat, and I set the target score, set the target date. I decided to complete the course within 3 months. That's the max I had in my hands. So, and we just have to input these two factors into EasyMat platform, and the personalized study plan gave whatever I was supposed to do in the next 3 months. So if you ask me what I
Correct.
did, personally I didn't do anything, because the whole personalized study plan gave a whole holistic structure to my preparation. It made my whole preparation very mechanical. So I didn't have to think twice what to do, and you just have to input how many hours you can devote towards preparation.
Devote.
So I,
Right.
yeah, devote towards the preparation. So I gave 5 6 hours, whatever possible during the weekdays and weekends. And this personalized study plan, it gave me whatever I wanted to, whatever I was supposed to do during my preparation. I didn't have to think twice to research for the material, or get up in the morning and wonder what to study today, or which material to refer to. I didn't have to think anything apart from what personalized PSP gave me. So in that way, personalized study plan helped me a lot, because I was, first of all,
Correct.
I had a very limited amount of time with me. So
Right.
this whole structure, helped me a lot in completing the course in the given time.
Understood. Understood. Fantastic. So now, Shamil, let's start with the hero of your journey, right? That is data
Mm-hmm.
insights.
No, so it
Usually,
wasn't a
people
hero.
aim for,
It was the enemy in the beginning. But
of
I
course, but
was
it ended up being the
very
hero,
much in
right?
love. Yeah.
Right, right. So let us maybe rephrase this. Let us discuss about
A
that
hero who arrived
section
at the end. Okay.
that
Okay,
went
go ahead.
from an enemy to the hero of your story. Okay, let's speak
Yeah.
about data insights. Data insights is a section where people aim for a DI-83 and are extremely proud of themselves when they get there, which is absolutely fair, right? You went from a DI-80 to a DI-86 in just 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Again, DI is a section where students usually struggle with time management,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So what I wanted to share right now is how did EGMAT's MSR strategies and DI approach help you tackle different question types and improve not only your score but also your time management?
Okay, so as I have already mentioned, DI was my enemy in the beginning, not just mine. I suppose everybody faced the same issue. And you mentioned 83, but for me, initially I thought 80 will be the max I can get. And if
Okay,
luck supports me, 82. Because I had taken a lot of mocks before my actual GMAT. To be precise, 21 mocks before my second attempt in GMAT. So in all those 21 mocks, the best I could get was 82 once. And 19 of the time I got below 80. And in my first GMAT attempt as well, I think I scored that 80 it was. So the problem initially was, uh, I expected that my quant and verbal section will do my DI preparation. Because in those 3 months of my initial preparation, I didn't have much. I couldn't devote much time towards DI, because I booked the GMAT slot for October 4th, and I started with DI only 3 weeks before, 3 or 20 days before. So I just rushed through the curriculum in EGMAT platform, and I couldn't. And I also thought that okay, there is nothing much I can do in DI. I just want to do my best in quant, score perfect Q90 if possible, and verbal I wasn't that good at verbal, so score whatever I get in verbal and score around 80, which will give me maybe 685 or 675 score in that range. So in my first attempt, I didn't devote much time to DI at all. But
correct.
after the first attempt that I registered for the last mile push program, of EGMAT, and in that Rida was assigned as my mentor, and she helped me identify not and whenever she was unavailable at the office, Dhruv stepped in, and at times Abba stepped in. You all helped
Yeah.
me to identify my weaker sections in DI, and
Right.
I was convinced that okay, I have to prepare very specifically for each subsection of DI. So all of you asked me to do semantic quizzes in each subsection. And I was given targets and alternate days by
Right.
all of you. So I just followed that. I did a lot of quizzes from EasyMath platform specifically for MSR TPA, and data sufficiency was I kind of felt okay with data sufficiency because I was okay with quants. But MSR TPA, I initially used to skip the questions. I mean, when I
Right.
see those three tabs, I'm sure, first of all, I'm very slow in doing questions. So if I do a question, I mean, I kind of do it in such a way that I need to get it right. So at the end, I end up leaving 5 to 6 questions unattempted in DI. In most of my initial mocks, I left 4 to 5 questions in DI. So later on, I realized my mistakes. I started working more on each subsection. I practiced a lot of questions from eGMAT platform and official guide question bank and GMAT club quizzes as well. So I practiced a lot. I improved my timing, and at the end, still there were timing issues. And also one thing I ensured was that I won't spend extra time on any single question, because
Right.
what I have felt during my preparation after my analysis is that if you spend more than 2.25 minutes in any question in DI, the next question is definitely going to be a lengthier question or more time consuming question. So
Yeah.
to I gained the courage to skip a question. If I find it too lengthy, in my first attempt, I never skipped a question. I tried and tried to until I get that question. And I
Yeah.
ended up spending 5, even 6 minutes on some questions, mainly MSR questions.
Correct.
Yeah, so, and after this practice, I realized, okay, DI is any time a war, a race against time. So I gained the courage to skip question, and I realized that okay, you have the luxury to skip or make 4 to 5 questions incorrect. Even when I
Correct.
scored 86 in DI, I think I got 4 questions wrong in the actual GMAT test.
Right.
So instead of spending 6 minutes in a single question and getting tougher questions afterwards, so I somehow convinced my mind to skip that question within 30-40 seconds and
Correct.
bookmark that question and go ahead with the remaining questions. And if I get time towards the end, I'll come back and review that question. So I
Correct.
think that's what helped me in scoring better in DI. And also, I changed the
That
mindset that
was. Huh.
82 will be the maximum. Because towards the end
Okay.
of my preparation, I realized that, okay, initially I thought quant will be my lifesaver, but later on I realized that maybe verbal can be your lifesaver or maybe DA can be a game changer. So I trained my mind in such a way that even if I fumble at some question in quant, okay, I'll regain my confidence and courage and give with a positive attitude the other two sections as well.
True. True. Fantastic. Actually, a lot of people realize this a little late, but I believe that the strategy to look, there is the review feature in this GMAT edition for a reason, right?
Yes.
So it is important that you leverage that feature smartly and to your advantage, and that is one of the key features that I have observed in those people's stories where DI has been their game changer or their hero, just like in
Yeah.
yours, right? So I think that
Yeah.
is a major learning that a lot of viewers right now watching us will take away from DI time management strategies from your journey, right? So thank you so much for being so candid about
Also,
sharing that.
I like to add one more thing regarding DI.
Yeah,
Uh,
please
the
go
thing
ahead.
is, the thing is, DI questions, to be frank, are not that tough. It's just that they appear to be tough. Suppose MSR and TPA question, the paragraph or the passage looks like a Shakespearean poem. It will be very
Right.
difficult to read and comprehend. But at the end, the question might be, I'm not saying it's always the same, but at the end, the question might be, what is the product of 15 and 13? I mean,
True.
it's most of the time I have observed that the
True.
question seems to be very easy, but our mindset or after reading, seeing the passage itself, we lose confidence. We'll assume that, okay,
Yeah.
this is going to be very lengthy and we won't invest much time, or focus much on the passage. And that's why
True.
we end up getting it incorrect. But if you read it properly in a focused manner and quickly, you don't have to, comprehend each sentence by sentence, because the question at the end might be to asking you to add two values in a particular table.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what we don't. Most of the people don't realize. I think even I didn't realize that in the beginning, but that realization helped me score better in MSR and TPA.
Understood. Understood. Thank you so much for those insights. Uh, Now let's speak about your verbal section and its preparation. Right. It is extremely important for you and me, people like you and me, especially those non-native speakers of English, to acknowledge that it is important for us to set the foundations right for the verbal section, right? And that is where EGMAT's Master Comprehension course comes to help you. So I really want to understand, how did the Master Comprehension course help you as a non-native speaker to achieve a V84? Because a lot of students who use the EGMAT portal come back asking a question that Master Comprehension, it's just the basics. I think I'm good with English. So what is your opinion on the Master Comprehension course, and how did it help you achieve what you did?
Okay, I'll tell one secret. I watched Master Comprehension twice, the whole structure, the whole course, twice or thrice, I think, because because to be frank, because I understand what other people also might be thinking, because I was also thinking the same way. The same thing what you just mentioned. What is the use of Master Comprehension? It's describing what is a subject, what is a verb. I mean, we are not in KG or primary school. So initially, and they started with the pre-thinking approach and falsification scenario, all those stuff. So initially, I thought, okay, all these won't help me that much. I mean, these are kind of, to be frank, I ignored that. But once I completed the verbal section and I started doing the semantic quizzes, I realized, okay, I'm not going to get anywhere with my present practice. So then I
Correct.
realized, and then I watched a lot of videos of previous toppers. So they, all of them were, all of them said pre-thinking helped them a lot. So then I decided to watch the whole master comprehension thing once again. So it's after watching that master comprehension again, I started utilizing the pre-thinking approach. My main issue with the verbal was I'm a very slow reader. I first of all,
Right.
I'm not an avid reader. I would have read only four or five novels maximum in my whole life. So I don't read that much. So, and I lose focus in between. After reading one sentence, I mean, if it's once, I can do anything continuously. But while reading comprehension or CR questions, I lose focus. So I'll have to go back and read the same sentence again and again, which will, which will make me, which will, time management gets very bad at the end for verbal section.
True. True.
So later on, I started utilizing this pre-thinking approach, which
Right.
helped me enormously in, first of all, completing the section, because out of 23, I used to do only 16 questions, 16, 17 questions in majority of my mocks. So because I used to take a lot of time to read. So this whole master comprehension and pre-thinking approach helped me improve my speed. And once I mastered this pre-thinking concept, I didn't have to read all the five choices. While reading the question itself, my brain starts working. So because my
Right.
brain is working now, it will increase my concentration towards the next sentence, because we are
Right.
pre-thinking. So once I complete reading the whole CR question, I'll, after reading the question sum, the obvious answer would definitely come to my mind, and most probably two
True.
situations come to my mind, and I just have to look out for one of those two situations in the given five choices. So in that
Choices.
way, I could save a lot of time and also improve my accuracy in verbal section.
Right. You actually answered my question on pre-thinking before even I asked it. So I was anyway going to ask you about pre-thinking. How did
Because
that help you
we can't talk about verbal section without pre-thinking. That's what
without pre-thinking?
I feel.
I think here also you use pre-thinking. You pre-thought that this could be the next question, and you just
Yeah,
answered it, right?
yeah,
Okay, okay. But while you were talking about your reading speed, right? I just thought about if reading speed was such an issue, you're not an avid reader. How
yeah.
did you make sure that you improved your RC abilities? What strategies were you using to make up for that slow pace in reading?
I'm still not sure if I made up to made up anything to increase my speed in RC, because
Right.
first of all, I had a UPSC. I mean, I had prepared for Indian Civil Services examination. So majority of the passage which come for RC, I have a a little bit of idea about whatever the author is talking in the passage, be it science and technology or space or health related business economics or whatever it is. I had a little bit idea, so even if I lose focus in between, I know the concept beforehand. So that helped me to, tackle medium, medium level RC questions. But when it comes to hard level RC questions, I still don't have any solution for that. I try reading it. I end up taking a lot of time. And at the end, what I did was I looked into the question, checked for answers in the passage, and then get done with that. Which actually I could score a little bit in hard RC passages as well. But to be frank, that's what I did.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. That
Because
works for you.
I didn't have much time to write the one line. I mean, the EGMAT course structure asks us to write one liner conclusion for each paras of the passage.
Right.
To read one passage, write it into one line. Next, and in similar manner, you ask us to comprehend the whole passage, but I couldn't ever do that because I was very slow in reading. So I adapted to that situation. I realized, understood my weakness, and I did whatever I could.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Fair enough. That's absolutely fine. Uh, so we already spoken about CRRC. We've spoken about data insights. Let's speak about quant, right? Uh, Now this is something that I come across a lot. Whenever I'm speaking with somebody from the engineering background for the first time, they are always high on confidence when they speak about quant. And let's be
yeah,
fair, you guys are good at quant naturally, right? You were also starting at a Q81, which is not really a bad place to be in while you're starting with a GMAT preparation. So, despite your technical background, how did how did EGMAT's quant course help you identify and fix gaps in quant?
yeah. Just like you mentioned, I'm also from engineering background, so I thought, okay, I'll do good in quants, and it would be very easy to score perfect. I mean, Q90. So that was my
Right,
aim always, and so, but I was out of practice in quants since past 5 6 years. So
okay,
getting into practice was a challenge, but EGMAT quizzes and the whole platform helped me a lot because the whole curriculum is based on doing quizzes, right? So you give
right,
one question, ask us to do, and then teach the concept. So in that way, I could get back into practice. And as you said, yeah, I was overconfident in quants. I rushed through the whole structure. I mean, the whole quant. structure, course structure in eGMAT platform.
Right.
So, and in majority of the mocks, I mean official mocks, I scored Q90. But it was mostly Rida who pointed out that okay, you are not that. I mean, she didn't put it up in that way, but at the end, the meaning was that you are not that great in quant. There are a lot of weak points in quants as well. You have to improve them. And she challenged me to solve particular cementing quizzes of so and so section. So she challenged me and proved to me that you are good at it. So then I realized, okay. Then I went back to my my performance in eGMAT platform and realized that okay, I'm not that. I didn't do that well in advanced topics and word problems. So I did hard semantic quizzes, medium semantic quizzes initially, and then hard semantic quizzes on those weaker sections, which was pointed out by Rida. So and in that way, I towards the end I practiced a lot, and initially I had timing issues in quants as well, but after practicing a lot, I always managed to finish quants in 35 minutes. I had a spare 10 minutes towards the end
Fantastic.
because I think what helped me was the eGMAT questions are tougher and lengthier. So many might find it to be challenging, and it was challenging for me as well. So, but the actual GMAT questions are bit shorter, but the
Correct.
eGMAT platform questions are very lengthy. So that makes you, or that helps you to practice for a tougher situation.
Right.
So if you end up, I mean, after thorough rigorous practice, if you end up doing a lengthier question in 2 minutes, that means you'll be able to solve the actual GMAT question in 1.5 minutes.
Right.
So yeah, so all that helped me a lot.
Right. What you just said about the EGMAT questions being lengthy, slightly trickier, right? I just happened to recollect my conversation with an LMP student of mine in the morning, where
Mm-hmm.
he also had a similar feedback that, I find EGMAT questions slightly tougher sometimes. Is that true? And that is when I just naturally happened to tell him that yes, to an extent that's true, but that is always going to prepare you for the toughest situations out there, because the GMAT, official GMAT questions can also be that tough, because GMAT is
Yeah.
an adaptive exam. If you do well on a particular section, the next section is actually going to be really tough. And
Yes. Yes.
eGMAT questions actually prepare you for those. And if you give up on eGMAT questions, okay, but if you don't give up on eGMAT questions, you actually happen to go and do really well like you did. And I gave him a line: if something doesn't kill you, it only makes you stronger,
Yeah.
right? So if
Yes.
this is a mindset with which you do tougher questions, then it's okay. It's just preparing me for the worst. You're surely going to come out victorious, which I think you did, and that's a very strong message that I would really pass on to all the
Mm-hmm.
viewers right now from Shamil's journey. That the
Yeah.
mindset has to
I'd
be
like
of
to
the
add one
champion.
more. I'd like to add one more point there, because before
Yeah,
my first attempt, in majority of the semantic quizzes I took in eGMAT platform, I barely touched in the hard the I think the passing limit was kept at 55 percentage for hard semantic quizzes
correct.
and 70 percentage for the medium ones.
Correct.
So I barely passed 55 percentage in those advanced topic and this word problems. And I thought, okay, these questions are tougher. The actual questions will be easier, so I can do better over there. Even if I score 55 percentage here, I can score 95, 90 percentage easily in actual GMAT test. So during
Right.
my first test, so if you check my profile in the platform, I in majority of the quizzes I scored 55 percentage, 40 percentage, etc.
Right.
So, and in my first GMAT attempt where I scored 645, I still remember the 20th question. The question I did all 6 official mocks before that attempt and a lot of other mocks. So I think I had covered a lot of different patterns of quant questions. But
Correct.
during the actual exam, I got one question which I couldn't comprehend at all. It was like a man was standing in the form of a triangle, and when he's moving at x meter per second, what is the acceleration or change in speed of the change in the length of his shadow? So I never came across such a question in any other mocks or even in any other platforms. So I realized that okay, you need to expect anything in the actual exam. Even if the official mocks, I did 6 official mocks before that, I never saw such kind of a question. And I thought okay, they'll be asking from this particular pool of questions, but they can ask a question from any section or any kind, and you have only 64 questions to
True.
prove yourself, and we can't take a chance over there. So why
Right.
if getting one question wrong can spoil your entire score. So
True.
after this first attempt in those 2 weeks, I did a lot of simultaneous quizzes in EGMAT platform, and I ensured that I scored above 90% in all hard simultaneous quizzes. Even though the questions were tougher, I practiced more and more on the hard questions and managed to score 90%, above 90% towards the end. But
Right.
before my first attempt, I was happy with 55%, thinking these questions are tougher and I can do better in the actual exam.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
saying one question can spoil your entire score. In my second attempt, I got Q86, but I got only one question wrong, and
Yeah.
that question brought my 90 to 86. And the funny thing
86,
is,
4 points.
I answered that question in 40 seconds, because it was
Oh,
very easy. It was very easy question, I think, because I never reviewed that question also. I saw the question, it was a one-liner question, I think. I saw the question, I answered it directly in 40 seconds and moved ahead. But that spoiled my score and brought it to 86.
right.
Yeah.
And the potential 725, 735, because you lost 4 points there,
Yeah. Yes.
right?
Yeah. But
Good.
we can't assume a linear adaptivity or linear, proportionality there, because if I had scored 90 in Q, the DI questions would have been more lengthier and tougher,
More
or because
difficult.
they would have been more difficult. So I don't
Right.
know, but yeah,
Yeah, all's well that ends well. So we
yeah,
need to keep it like that.
yeah.
Right. Shamil, because you came from an engineering background, you were pretty
Mhm.
decent at quant. The Pace AI, the Pace engine actually came to help you a lot and saved you good 45 hours on your prep. And you still
Yeah.
achieved a Q86, answered just one question incorrectly.
Mhm.
Would it be fair to say that the Pace engine and its assessment of one's abilities is pretty accurate?
Yeah, definitely, because it gives you a diagnostic test initially, and after that it changes the algorithm and gives you okay, you have to follow so and so. And I think pace, if I had followed pace blindly, I could have saved much more than 45 hours, because I was skeptical, because as I said, I didn't want to lose out on any section. I wanted to, touch and go each and every section. So even if pace told me, suppose if it's time, speed, distance topic, pace would tell me, okay, you need to do only, diagnose after the diagnostic test, it tells me, okay, you need to do only 5 out of 10. But
Yeah,
as I said, I didn't want to miss out on any particular topic, because I was out of practice in quants. So I did, maybe when pace said 5, I did 7. But even then, it helped a lot in improving, in better time management and saving a lot of time. Otherwise, maybe I couldn't have completed the course in those 3 months.
yeah,
Extra
true.
40 hours means it's like 8 to 9 days or 10 days.
Yeah, yeah, true. And those 10 days can make a huge difference.
Yeah,
True.
exactly.
Right. Fantastic quant journey as well. Let us come to the final sprint. Okay. In EGMAT language, we also call it the last mile push. Right. You scored a 645 in your first attempt. right?
Yeah.
You improved from a 645 to a 715 in 2 weeks. How did
Yes.
the last mile push program and Rida's mentorship help you achieve this significant jump in just 2 weeks?
Okay, so as I had initially said, before my first attempt, I just followed the curriculum or the whole structure, and I had after completing the EGMAT course, I had only 1 week left. So I didn't have much time to analyze or identify my weaker areas or anything. I just went through all the lectures, did all those quizzes, and straight away went and wrote the exam. But after
Correct.
my 645, I realized that there's a lot to improve because in all the mocks I gave before that first attempt, I think I got 645 once, 685 once. All the remaining scores were less than 645, 615, 595 in those ranges. So, okay, I thought, okay, I'll need an external support to help me identify my weaker areas and advise me because as I said, I was very tight. I was having a very tight schedule and I didn't have much time to invest. So I thought, okay, why not to ask an expert who has much more idea than me in regarding the
Correct.
preparation. So that's when I registered to Last My Push program, and there was assigned as my
Right.
mentor. And from the initial day itself, she went through my profile, and that's what I said. She identified the weaker areas. Even in quants, she challenged me to, to prove to her that I'm okay, I'm good in quants. So when somebody else is challenging you, okay, that gives you a boost, to perform better, right? Because if I
Right.
hadn't registered in the LMP program, then I would have continued doing quizzes, continued doing mocks, and then go 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 and take the second test. And you also know how much I was into doing mocks. So even you, whenever
Yeah.
Rida was unavailable, you and Abha helped me. So you used to tell me, okay, Shamil, okay, doing mocks are good, okay, but there are some weaker areas. So focus on those weaker areas, work on them, improve them, and then take the mock.
Take
So
another
in
one.
that way, all of you help me identify my weaker areas, and I just followed whatever you guys told me to do because I myself work as a mentor in the UPSC circle. So I know, okay, mentors, whatever they tell the students, it's for the benefit of the student because they have a better idea of the whole structure. They are
True.
analyzing from a different viewpoint. Okay, so what is his or her weakness, how can he improve?
Yeah.
The demands of different aspirants or students might be different, so mentor, because of their vast experience, they have a better idea and better solution for your problem. So I just
True.
said, I just followed whatever all of you asked me to do, and that helped me enormously to gain 715.
You're right. Right. Thank you so much for your kind words, by the way. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Shamil, it's extremely important to, of course, to prepare, to be ready, but a lot also depends on your mental preparation and
Yeah.
test experience,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
I want to
Definitely.
understand how did you manage your test anxiety and stay motivated through the lows and through the exam, especially when you were facing some unexpected questions. So what was your mental preparation like?
So I started, investing time on improving my mindset only after my first attempt. As I
Okay.
said, before my first attempt, I never thought, I didn't have much time to think about all that. As I said, I
Yeah.
just completed the course and then straight away went and gave the exam. And
Yeah.
when I got that, the tough question, which I said that speed of shadow. So when I got that question, I was very surprised. I stressed out a lot because I was sure that I'm not going to score 90 in quant. There were two other questions as well, which I wasn't that confident with my answer. So for me, okay, quants में I most probably would have got 3 questions incorrect. So after completing the quant section, I was completely stressed out. I lost all my confidence, and it was like I pre-decided, okay, this I am not going to score well in this exam.
Yeah.
So doesn't matter how much ever I push in verbal and I won't
True.
do good. Yeah. So that because of that mindset, I couldn't comprehend a single passage in that attempt. I couldn't pre-think also, but I don't know how I managed to get 645. I really don't know,
Yeah.
but maybe I don't know. So after that exam, I realized that okay, if I fumble after the quant section, then I won't be able to score any good. Or my target score was about 700 plus. So if I focus only on quants, or if I lose my confidence during my exam, then I wouldn't ever be able to score 700 plus. So it's after the first attempt, okay, I thought I started, working on my mindset to stay calm, to, to put extra effort towards staying calm. So what I did was I followed the same exam schedule 2 weeks from 2 weeks before my second attempt. All those 14 days, I followed the same schedule as the exam day. I woke up at the same time. I took my exam slot was from 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. slot.
Right.
So whenever I took any mock, I always took at 9 a.m. itself. Quant in the order of quant, verbal, break, and DI. I follow the
Brilliant.
same thing, and after working on my mindset, I realized that okay, it's not just quant. Any other section can be a game changer. And during the exam, uh, I started, taking deep breaths as well before every section and kind of meditation to calm your mind. Just before starting the exam, I took deep breaths, and after completing the quant, when before switching to verbal, I took deep breaths, closed my eyes, calmed myself, and before I invested more on meditation. I think I took longer and deeper breaths for 2 minutes before the DI section. I took the optional break at that time before DI, and I went out, had a protein bar, yoga bar, and came inside and sat on my chair for 2 minutes, calmed myself, and took deep breaths. And I thought, okay, let whatever come, I have to do my best on once. So
Yeah.
in that way, I trained my mind, and that helped me a lot in staying calm throughout the whole exam.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing that. Shamil, we are coming towards the end of the session. And
Okay,
of course, after this last question that I'll ask you, we'll take some questions from the viewers as well.
okay,
And they would have their questions, you'll answer those and share some more insights. But before we do that, one last question. Look, GMAT is majorly uh, a journey which is taken by working professionals, right?
yes.
And they always face a challenge of balancing work and prep. What
Hmm.
was your study routine like, and while balancing work, and what advice would you give to aspirants based on your journey?
Okay. To be frank, my journey would be different, might be different from others. But as I said, in the whole month of June, I couldn't even log in into eGMAT because I was assigned a particular work. It took 5 weeks, and I couldn't study at all. Even a single hour during those 5 weeks. So after that,
Right.
I approached my manager and convinced him, and I told him frankly that okay, sir, I am planning to go for MBA. I am going to prepare for GMAT. So I asked him to kindly reduce my work schedule, and I work in an edtech startup right now. So he helped me a lot in reducing my workload, and I could manage to give around 5 to 6 hours every day towards my studies. And during the weekends, I gave much more than that, because to be frank, I have been preparing for competitive exams since a young age. So I am okay with studying for longer hours. And since I was preparing, since I've been preparing for UPSC as well, I'm used to, sit and work for 10 to 12 hours. So that actually helped me. So it might not be the same for everybody because many might not be able to sit for longer hours, maybe because of the work schedule or maybe because of lack of attention span. Because after 1 hour, we are humans, we tend to lose focus. So whatever it is, try to manage. I mean, if you have a longer span for preparation, then you may devote 2 to 3 hours per day. But be consistent in your preparation. It shouldn't be like, okay, you give 5 hours on Sunday, don't prepare for the next 5 days, and then give 5 hours on the next Sunday. Much better than that would be give 2 hours every day. It's a consistency that matters. Because if you give 5 hours on a Sunday and then uh, take a gap of 5 days, you lose that speed or
Yeah.
consistency or that focus.
Momentum. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So consistency is the key, according to me, I think.
Fair enough. Fair
How
enough.
much hour time you can devote, give the maximum and be consistent.
Right. All right. So that was the last question from me to you, Shamil.
Okay.
You answered all these questions wonderfully, with a lot of candidness, with a lot of honesty, because I was also a brief part of your journey. I know
Yeah.
that a lot of that was truly something that you had experienced, right? So thank
Yeah.
you so much for being so candid. It's time to take some questions from our viewers. A few of them have posted their questions in the comments. I will
Mhm.
take one by those questions one by one, and you may feel free to answer them.
Okay, sure, sure.
So the first question that we'll take is from Devanshi. She is asking about what about time management in MSR. Although you have
Mhm.
explained that, but I believe maybe Devanshi would have joined in a little late. Just a brief about your MSR strategy, and that should help.
Okay, so Devanshi, what I also initially struggled a lot with MSI questions, but how I overcame that was by solving more and more questions, harder questions, because GMAT questions are much lengthier than the actual GMAT questions. So solving those lengthier questions helped me to tackle the actual MSR questions in the actual GMAT exam. You should focus more on time and also read the passage with much better attention, because you don't need to comprehend each and every sentence in the MSR package. You just need to have a broad understanding of the whole passage, because a question might be very different from what the passage actually means. Passage might be something, and in between that there would be two numbers, and the actual question would be asking for you to add those two numbers. You just need to realize
Right.
that. Okay, so you need to do practice a lot of questions. And what I did in some of the in DA section was I did a lot of questions that I was thorough with what the question stem would be. So
Right.
I won't advise doing that, but I wanted to save a lot of time. So I just, if I was sure that okay, this question stem would be this, then I wouldn't read the whole stem. I frankly don't advise this, but that's how you have to adapt with the situation. So that's how frankly manage time.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. So there are two people asking a similar question, Shamil. One is Soma,
Okay.
and the other one is Maneet. They both want to understand from you about your CR strategy. So, what I would recommend, Shamil, here is that if you can just explain the pre thinking strategy and the process in short, that would maybe, I think, help these guys.
Okay, so in CR question, I think majority of the people, I mean, including me initially, what my major issue was to identify the conclusion. What author actually concludes, or what actually his conclusion is. I most probably I used to assume some other sentence as the conclusion, but that wouldn't be the actual scenario, and that ends up. I mean, that makes us answer the incorrect option. So the most important thing is to identify the conclusion, which I think if you follow the course structure of EGMAT very well, I mean do a lot of questions, it defines very well in the solution of each quiz as well. how to identify the conclusion. And identify the conclusion solves half of the question. And after that is pre-thinking. I think all of you would be already aware of what pre-thinking approach is. Anyways, while after reading the question itself, suppose they say X moves to Y, X moves to Z, and the pre-thinking approach from the passage itself, it helps you think that okay, there are only two ways to go from X to Z. One should be A or one should be B. And in among the given five options, there might be only A or B. So this pre-thinking approach helps you to identify the answer before reading the choices itself, and helps you save a lot of time. But if I have to explain in detail, I know I wasn't very clear in that explanation. But if I have to explain in detail, I think we'll have to solve the question itself.
That's okay. All right. Thank you for that. Let me see. Then we have Subin, who's asking, sir, did you do the master comprehension course again? Or did you do the critical reasoning course only for improving the verbal part?
I think master comprehension is a very small section which you can complete with, I don't know,
7 hours.
7 hours, right? So I actually did the whole master comprehension again. Doing whole CR part would be very hectic. I did the master comprehension section once again and solved a lot of extra questions from this Callrania platform for CR. Both hard and soft. Initially relaxed medium questions and standard timing medium questions. And after that, relaxed hard quizzes and standard timing hard quizzes.
Okay.
So that gives you a step-by-step improvement in any section, whichever section you are weak in.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that is all that we have. No other questions, Shamil.
Okay.
So I think we will end the session then. So thank you so much for doing this, Shamil. You have actually been helping a lot of people by sharing your journey and giving such deep insights into your journey, because a lot of people want to learn from other people's journey, and I think that is really wise, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're
True.
giving it back to the community. That is really kind of you, and we really appreciate that.
Thanks a lot, and thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity to share my journey as well. Thank you. And thank you all
Welcome.
for all the insights, all the contribution you had during my preparation as well.
Oh, we are glad to have been a part of your journey, Shamil. Really proud of you. Let us know what happens in the next steps of your MBA journey. And remember, GMAT is always going to be your biggest cheerleader.
Yeah, I know that. Okay,
All
thank
right.
you. Thanks a lot.
So, goodbye to all the viewers and a good night from us in India. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.